Hey there, so in this video I'm going to talk to you about percents. So what is a percent? Well, a percent is a value out of 100. Essentially that's what it is. The word percent itself really means per 100. So when we're saying percent, we're actually saying per 100. Alright? And here are some examples of what I mean by that. 10% means 10 per 100. And 13% means 13 per 100. Okay, so when we're saying percent, we're really saying per 100. I'm going to wipe this down and I'm going to show you three different ways to represent and show a percent. So here's three different ways that you could represent or show a percentage. The first one is very simple. It's just a number and a percent symbol. So that's how a percent symbol looks. Here's a couple of examples. 5% and 23%. I will use both these examples for the two other ways to represent a percent. Okay, so that's a very simple one, number and percent symbol. The next one I have over here is a fraction. So percents, yes, they can be shown as a fraction. Percents are best represented with the denominator of 100. I say best represented because a fraction could actually still represent a percent without the denominator of 100. So a fraction with the denominator that's different than 100 can represent a percent too. And I'm going to show you that when I show you some percent questions later on. So that's how you can represent it with a fraction. Again, with our two examples, 5 over 100 is equal to 5%. 23 over 100 is equal to 23%. The reason why we use 100 is because 100% is one whole. Moving on, we have the last way to show a percent, decimals. So, decimals, they will always have two digits after the decimal place because 1, the number 1, or the value of 1, represents a whole, and a whole is 100%, which is shown like this. And our examples here, again, using the ones we have up top, 0.05 is equal to 5%. 0.23 is equal to 23%. Now I don't have it on here, but if I were to have 100%, my decimal would just be 1. Okay, and then if I had 50%, 0.5, and so on and so forth. I'm going to now erase all of this, and I'm going to show you some percent questions. Here are two examples of questions that we could use to figure out how to go from a fraction like this to a percent. So I mentioned earlier that fractions don't have to have a denominator of 100 to be still represent what a percent is. But it's hard to figure out what the percent of this fraction is because it doesn't have a denominator of 100. So we have to change it to have a denominator of 100. Now we can't just go and get rid of this 25 here and put it and change it to 100 and say, okay, my denominator is 100 now, I now have percent. No, we have to do some math in order to be able to do that. So to convert this to a fraction with a denominator of 100, we have to take a look at equivalent fractions. So to start with this one here, we know that our denominator has to be 100, and that's going to help us figure out what the percent is. So we know the denominator right here already needs to show 100. And then from there, we could figure out math to go from this fraction to this equivalent fraction. So from 25 to 100, what do I need to do to get from 25 to 100? We need to multiply. To get from 25 to 100, we need to multiply by 4. We have to multiply by 4. And we know with equivalent fractions, what we do on the bottom, the denominator, we have to do on the top, the numerator. So we also have to multiply 7 by 4. And if we multiply 7 by 4, that's going to give me 28. So the answer to this here, the percentage of this fraction, is 28%. Okay? Now we have another one on this side right here, 12 over 20. What's my fraction here? So again, we're looking at changing the denominator to 100. So we do that right away. We put 100 down here. And then we're going to take a look. 20 to 100. we need to multiply 20 by a number to get to 100 to make an equivalent fraction. In this case, 20 multiplied by 5 will give us 100. And again, what we do on the denominator, in this case multiplied by 5, we have to also do to the numerator, which is 12. So we're going to multiply 12 by 5 as well. And when you do that, 12 times 5, that gives you 60. So our percentage for this fraction, 12 over 20, is 60. So remember, when you're changing a fraction without the denominator of 100, you're going to first use an equivalent fraction that has a denominator of 100 to make it easier for you to figure out what the percentage is.